thank you so much, Sophie and Victoria. Um, I got to watch Blue Heron at TIFF and then one more time again, and just so exciting to be in conversation with you. I think one of the biggest things about Blue Heron that sticks out with me is archiving memory and that idea. So I do want to get into that a little bit. But Sophie, I have a question for you because Sasha is viewing Jeremy's journey as a witness, but in a way, she's also viewing kind of the fractured, sometimes fumbling side of her parents as they explore parenthood as well. And so I was wondering, what was your process of writing the mother and the father character? How much grace were you willing to give them, especially in there are moments of desperation for them as well?
Do I hold this up? Thank you so much. You speak very eloquently about the film. I think when writing the parents and the characters, generally I wanted the film to feel that everyone was imperfect, but no one was to blame. Right down from Jeremy to the social workers and the parents. So that I wanted there to be a sense of like them being real people. So it felt important to me that everyone had breaking points and flaws and things that make people real people, rather than just creating sort of one-dimensional, depictions. Because I've seen films that, I guess, tackle similar subject matter, and sometimes it can get flattened by, trying to be too broad. So I wanted to infuse like that specificity, partially from my own memories, but also really like from a character point of view. Because although it's quite semi-autobiographical, I don't see these as like surrogate characters for my own family. There's elements that I pull from my real life, but then there's also things that I think just work really well for the film. Like in fact, like the parents in the film are quite at each other, but that's actually not really true to my memories. Like my parents they don't really fight, so. That's not part of my memories. That's just something that I think makes sense for those characters. And so there's always decisions, like artistic decisions and narrative decisions being made, pulled from reality, and then things that I think lend well to the film itself. Yeah.
Does your perception of parenthood in general changed or shifted a little bit when you were, like you said, going through your own memories and writing what fits with Sasha's memory?
It looks really hard. I think in general I'm quite. I find parenthood, as a way of life to be the most challenging thing that someone could do, and I don't feel strongly about my desire to be a parent. Like I don't know that that's something that will happen in my life, and I think that this film actually did make me think about the sacrifices that parents make, especially younger parents, and then on top of that, immigrant parents, and how much of yourself you have to give up and sacrifice. And I think having that choice, not having had children young, or not having immigrated myself, I feel like there's an immense amount of privilege getting to live a life that is like really based around my own freedom and getting to spend my time in the way I want to. So I think it did remind me of that. Yeah, but I did love working with kids.
I think Blue Heron, as I mentioned before, the concept of archiving memory from Jeremy's maps, and I would love to hear from your part designing that as well, Victoria, and Dad's photographs, and now Sasha in the future becoming a documentary. And how is that concept kind of shaped the way you approach Blue Heron visually, but also emotionally as well?
That's a great question. I mean, I'd love for you to talk about it. Yeah, we did talk a lot about archive, and Victoria looked at a lot of archive. So
yeah, I mean, so the maps are actually Sophie's brother's original art. Yeah, so that was a choice that, I mean, you kind of came across them, right? You were going through some stuff, and
I wasn't sure if they still had them. So then
Yeah.
when we found my parents are actually pretty, they're archivists themselves of our
Yeah.
own family.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they have, like, my mom actually really holds on to a lot of those memories, which are very precious. So she had the maps themselves and then
Yeah.
gave them to Victoria.
So I was looking at them and I was like, I would love to use these, like with your parents' permission and your permission. So yeah, it became quite a feature.
Yeah.
And they're just so beautiful and interesting, and I think they summarize a lot of metaphor in which, like, I don't know, I guess we couldn't really necessarily explain that, but somehow they just worked. And they were like this sort of in-between space, you know, right? And it also connected things.
Yeah, because they're non-places. Like the maps are not of real places, so it's, I think, a pretty quick way to express this character's like lack of grounded reality, like living in reality. But yeah, the more we use them, the more we wanted to use them, and then they became like the titles, and then we felt that the theme was just like really quick, a quick way to communicate this character's like inner world.
Yeah. And there's like an innocence to them as well. I think it's like an insight into Jeremy's character that, although he's, you know, not necessarily vocalizing some of those things, you can see them in his work. He's kind of wanting to escape. And that's really beautiful.
With that, Victoria, I wanted to ask about your process of building the home, because the home is so beautiful. But in a way, it's an extension to see how the dynamics of the family plays out. How was your process, and also the creative challenges of designing the home? Because at the same time, it feels so homey and so beautiful and so packed with love, but you can also see that isolation with Jeremy and the rest of the family as well.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for that. Yeah, I mean, designing the home was so much fun. I mean, we did location scouting. We were looking for like the perfect home. We had this real specific, like, what was it called, a Vancouver box, or Vancouver special box style house, and it was like we were looking for it, but we couldn't find it. And then we found this house in North Van, and we're like, this is the house.
We walked in, both of us were like, yeah.
The basement.
Everything about it. And then, things just sort of evolved from there. Because my budget was tight, I had to think about what was most important and then sort of like synthesize that into pieces. And so my approach was really, how do I bring in key pieces that will convey period, references to both, like, you know, things that Sophie grew up with, but also like maybe that are a little bit universal. The parents, we had through discussions, are very artsy, and so we wanted that to be conveyed through the pieces that we chose, and especially the bedroom, where I was able to, like, you know, have some stacks of National Geographics in the corner, and like that, those were really pulling that from like Sophie's dad. And so I looked at photographs and videos, and Sophie's dad's a talented cinematographer and photographer, so it was just like, it was a joy, really, to work on.
I love the house. I also love your treatment of the plants that go on around the house, and I know you're a florist yourself as well. Do you see that sensibility from your work as a florist kind of translate into the piece and working with Sophie?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, luckily Sophie is a lover of all things floral too, so it was not hard to convince her to be like, you want some flowers? And also, I would say that a big part of it is like, yes, I put it there, but Maya, our DP, she framed it, like she made it beautiful, and she also brought in the exterior nature of like Vancouver and Nanaimo and made it feel like one. And so, like, in terms of my floral practice, that's something I'm always really interested in, is how do we weave those between each other. And because, you know, outdoor space is just as important as an indoor designed space, you know. So if you notice in the latter half of the film, I started to introduce florals more inside of the house, strategically, to kind of blend the two halves, like that past and sort of Sophie's present. Thank you, Sasha. Sorry. Sasha's present, and so those were elements that I was conscious of as trying to bridge those two worlds, and it was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it's your secret weapon.
Yeah.
How was your collaborative process like when it's just the two of you, and then Maya, Maya comes in as a cinematographer, and I think in your past interviews you also said costume designing was so important and working in tandem with Victoria.
Yeah. You want to start? You start. Yeah, you start.
We just had so much fun. I don't know. Like we met through this production, but now we've become very close friends.
Yeah.
And I think it's just the nature of how we crewed up. We really were trying to emphasize like people that were very strong in their own field, but then also like really, really kind and supportive people. So I think when I met Victoria, I was like, I feel supported, I feel comfortable, and I feel like this is someone I can spend time with. But I didn't know how, that the friendship would like really blossom into something. And it's really, that's the most, that's the best gift you can have, like making a movie, is that you actually make, lifelong friends. And I think it's also part of the process was that I'd seen other people make films, and I've seen people rush that process, and we really got to know each other. Like Victoria got to know Maria, who did the costumes, like before we got to set, so there was never any tension or conflict because they already understood each other's approaches and styles. And like we spent a lot of time together during prep, like shopping, like going shopping for clothes, but then also Victoria and Maria were collaborative in their process in terms of like color palettes and textures. And sometimes you would find a piece that Maria might like, and Maria might find a piece that you would like, and their styles really like blended well together. And then Maya really just is like the icing on the cake with all of that. Yeah. I'm getting so sappy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, Maya was incredible. I mean, when she saw the house too, she was like, "This is the house," and so it felt great. Yeah, Maria's amazing. There's a dog. We're distracted. We also realized we both don't really sleep. So it was really funny. It was like, of course you want to have boundaries around like work schedule. And I think we both were really like good at communicating when we needed that. But it was also funny because I'd be like, are you still up? Like, yeah.
Always.
That happens.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, one of the things that I'm so interested about is, again, I love the idea of archiving. That's something that I think a lot about. If you both can choose a moment to archive from this whole process of making Blue Heron, from prep to production to now in the festival run, what would you say? What would you archive?
That's a cute question. I have one. There's this Polaroid that because we had a couple of different wrap parties because we just like wanted to keep hanging out. But we had a wrap party which was kind of to wrap out the house because we had finished shooting at the house, and we got these hats that have a blue heron on the front that are from the bird sanctuary that we shot at, but we used them as like our cast and crew gift. And it looks like we got them made for the film because of the title, but they were just like in the gift shop. And then so that became like our hat. But there's this photo that's of the costume and art department with Elul in the middle, and they're all wearing the hat. And it's just, Elul just like reminded me so much of when you're a kid and you get to go to like an adult's party and you don't want to go home because you're just hanging out with like these people that you're like, these are my friends. But she was, she's 10 years old, but she really like, she can really hang. And she really loved it. And and it was like watching her say to her mom, like 10 more minutes. And she just was like having such a nice time. And I think she was really influenced by like hanging out with like this group of women. Like, and she even started to want to buy like more wide length pants and like, and it was just very sweet to watch like this like really beautiful, like good influence of these like older sister figures for this young girl. And I love that photo so much because it's just like really encapsulates the shoot for me.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, that was a really great moment. I don't know. It's tough. I would say just being able to spend time too with the kids. I think that you're only that young for such a short period of time, and I had multiple instances where I like went up to their parents and I was like, I think this is so special that they're able to spend time on this film with us, and like I get that this time is really fleeting. Like, you're not 8 for that long, but hopefully we have like a they had a great experience. I think they had a great experience. They said they did.
Yeah.
And like that's I mean, that's kind of the only thing you can hope for when you're working on a film set is that everyone comes out of it feeling like empowered and happy and excited.
That was like my worst fear as a director, was to have a kid have a bad memory because of like my own production.
Sure, yeah.
So I feel really proud that it seems like everyone had a great time, because of course like when you're working with kids, there's so much you have to consider, like in terms of how much time and effort is exerted from them, and because it's not the same as an adult. But we did shoot like 9-hour days, mostly out of like it was for the kids, but then also everyone was like, oh, it's for the kids, and like, it's also for the adults.
It's for everyone's sanity.
Yeah, which I think really made a difference to people's like ability to have the stamina to keep going.
Totally.
Yeah.
And also Preston, every time he wanted to go on the trampoline.
You guys just have a trampoline set up on the side for the kids?
The trampoline was part of the shoot, but then we had Victoria like sourced the trampoline, which was also kind of period accurate trampoline. So it was a little bit rusty.
It was a little bit old.
Wow.
So we had to be really careful. And every time we do a scene, and then we'd wrap up, press okay, can I go on the trampoline now? And we always had to make sure he was monitored, because it was
So it was both like, I was so happy for him because he seemed like he really loved it, and it brought back memories of me endlessly jumping on a trampoline when I was his age. But I was just like, dear God, don't fall, hurt yourself.
Last thing we need is like a tetanus shot on this film.
But everyone's safe.
Yeah, everyone's safe.
Yeah.
No one got hurt. I think he got a splinter. But...
Yeah,
that's okay. I just love the way that you both, and Maya and the whole crew, the sensibility that you have towards portraying the kids visually. And I just want to give you your flowers for that, because I think it's so beautiful. And it's a hard thing to do. So I just have one last question. And on the topic of children, who always give us hope, you can take this question in any direction that you want. First part, are you hopeful? And the second one, I know, I have that reaction all the time. What makes you hopeful?
That's tough. It's a tough time in the world right now to be hopeful. I mean, I'm definitely not like a nihilist at heart, so I do feel like I have a sense of optimism, but it's not. I don't want to ever put that on like the next generation, or the kids to like have to resolve the issues that generations that came before them created. So I feel like a lot of heartbreak and sadness for that, because it's kind of an impossible task to resolve all of the human suffering that has been created by humans. But I think I do see the generations that come after us as being more self-aware and more intelligent than my generation was, and just in terms of how they navigate the world, and the sense of the world seems to be more based in reality because they can't escape it. I think that when we were kids, there was more escape. Like there's more escape now in terms of like the internet and content and stuff, but you can't hide from the reality because it's just so in your face all the time. So I think that there's just like a greater sense of the repercussions of what's happening in the world on them. So I don't know if I'm hopeful, but I feel a lot of, I guess, respect and admiration for like what they have to carry, and I hope they're gonna be okay. I don't know. It makes me sad. Yeah.
I mean, I'll echo that. I guess, like, am I hopeful when I think about the future long term? I would probably say not as much, but like I'm hopeful in my daily tasks, and like I think that's all you can kind of do is it's like kind of literally like putting one foot in front of the other, and noticing the small things, and that's what makes me hopeful. So.
Yeah.
Well, Sophie and Victoria, thank you. Thank you for Blue Heron, your artistry, and I just thank you for how much grace you've given me in this conversation.